It is time for the program to begin. Please take your seats and welcome your host, Jill Arrington.
All right. Hello. Welcome to the 15th Annual Concussion Legacy Gala. I'm honored to be your host here tonight as we celebrate 15 years of success and look ahead to what we can accomplish with your support in the next 15 years as we fight to end CTE and achieve concussion safety without compromise. It's so great to gather again in person, right? I also want to extend a warm welcome to all of those joining us on the live stream at home. We're so glad you could all be with us here for this very special occasion. So through my 2 decades of work as a sideline reporter and sports anchor, I've had intimate perspective of sports injuries. I've long been following CLF and this issue. But I'm here tonight at my first Concussion Legacy Gala, not as a journalist, but as a legacy family community member with firsthand experience witnessing the long-term effects of repetitive head trauma. I was moved to get more involved after living through the most traumatic year of my life as a survivor of the fallout from CTE, losing my hero and changing my perspective of contact sports forever. My father, Rick Arrington, died a year ago September with stage 4 CTE at age 74. His 20 years of playing football took its toll, from Pop Warner to middle and high school, college, and the pros. Despite not having any reported concussions during his playing days, Dr. Torstein at the BU CTE Center concluded he'd likely been suffering with CTE for over 35 years. This was a tough diagnosis to process. My dad was not just an amazing multi-sport athlete. He was an amazing father, friend, husband, human. His colorful personality lit up every room. His authenticity bent every ear towards him. He wasn't just a quarterback in the NFL, but in life, the ultimate leader, provider, protector of family and friends, the master at inspiring others to be their very best. His proudest accomplishment was raising a family of confident, loving, strong, successful girls. Yet amid all his successes, his empathy for others was his greatest quality. Yes, I miss my hero dearly. It pains me to know his life was cut short by the sport he loved most. Until the end, he had a perfect heart, lungs, blood health, never a drinker, not a user of drugs, always an active mind and a healthy body, no other neurodegenerative disease. The years of first to practice, last to leave, being tough, taking hits for the team, caused an invisible disease to progress in his brain that affected our entire family. It's been a difficult year to even watch the sport I grew up loving, the career I had covering, because now when I see players' heads collide on the field, I see my dad's face, begging me through tears to help him end his own misery. When I see a player's head hit the turf, I see the strongest man I ever knew struggle to sleep for weeks and months on end. When I watch a player dazed and helped off the field, I see the smartest man I know unable to make a simple cell phone call. And I'm reminded of the bravest man I ever knew have a panic attack on the airplane, convinced there was no oxygen. Now when I see quarterbacks take the sack, I remember the kindest man who loved me most get enraged over being asked to take a weekly shower. This is what repetitive hits to the head can look like later in life. With CTE, it's not just the players who suffer. Families are shredded by it. Unlike other diseases with no cure, where you can isolate the pain and suffering to the patient, CTE is unpredictable for the caregivers as well. Family and friends of CTE victims live through debilitating, destructive spirals, hopelessly searching for a peaceful end for their loved one. The violence, the frantic confusion of this disease can destroy families. You know, some will say your dad wouldn't change his football experiences for any pain he endured. But I disagree. As I remind us, had he known about the brain-damaging effects and how it would derail his ability to provide and protect his family and make his family fear him, he would have made a different choice. He would have helped change. He certainly would never allow kids to be put in harm's way for a hobby, to risk their future ability to be great husbands and fathers and providers themselves. My dad died peacefully at home in the arms of his girls, gripping a football. But the revelation of how this disease affected our lives will never be forgotten. I love sports. Most all of us do. And I want to save contact sports, but not at the expense of the players' lives. The onus is on all of us here tonight, all of us, to live out the legacies of these CTE victims, to be the leaders and influencers they were stripped early of fully becoming. Think of what they could have accomplished in their life without CTE cutting it short. You guys, the burden is on us. I'm grateful to have found Chris and the CLF HelpLine, who helped us navigate the horrors of CTE, to have been introduced to Lisa McHale, but now the onus is on all of us to help raise awareness so players, coaches, families can make better informed decisions about the true risks of repetitive head trauma. From the time I first started covering concussions, I can tell you it's amazing to see the awareness and advancement of this issue evolve because of the work of Dr. Chris Nowinski, Dr. Robert Cantu, and this organization over the last 15 years. So as we begin tonight, yes. So as we begin tonight, let's take a look back at some of the incredible progress that they've made. Here you go.
I'm not going to let this happen anymore. It's obvious who's right, who's wrong. It's obvious what the problem is. It's obvious how bad it is. Guys are getting killed. But nobody is making a big deal out of it. And it's about time somebody did.
I think you're absolutely right. There is something very strange about not telling the kids or the coaches about one of the most common injuries they can get in football and the most serious one.
Dr. McKee had examined thousands of brains, but the location of the damage from CTE was different.
I remember my feeling. I was scared. I was really scared. It really was a turning point. It was a new understanding that, hey, you know, this might be bigger than we think.
Nowinski and McKee tried to crash the festivities by holding a press conference.
This is the genius of Nowinski, really. I mean, right? I mean, we're going to present her findings.
This is something you never should see.
Where do we want to announce that? Oh, let's go to Tampa Bay, where the Super Bowl is about to play out, where there's 4,000 media members who are there waiting to watch.
Examine thousands of brains. And this is not a normal part of aging. This is not something you normally see in the brain.
An announcement today from American soccer hero Brandi Chastain. She will donate her brain to science.
NASCAR's most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., announcing he's planning on donating his brain for concussion research.
I wanted this game to be better when I left than when I got into it. And that's the reason I'm donating my brain to the Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Ahead of this year's Olympic Games, 3 athletes announcing an Olympic-sized contribution to science.
By donating their brains to science in a courageous attempt to uncover the confronting truth about concussion. And what's being discovered here might change how you view and play sport.
Em outro futebol, o americano, o que seguidos traumas na cabeça podem causar. Eu joguei na universidade.
In 2019, Chris Nowinski came to New Zealand to launch a collaboration with Auckland University's Brain Bank. They put out a call for rugby players to donate their brains after they die.
I recognize how important it'll be when that first All Black is diagnosed with CTE.
We couldn't be more proud to have Stephen Thompson as the first athlete to pledge his brain to the Concussion Legacy Project.
You know, this is my way of helping by, you know, putting my brain forward.
The Concussion Legacy Foundation is going to make a difference with CTE. I am surrounded by heroes, and all of us have decided to donate our brains so that others don't have to suffer.
I would eliminate tackle football. I'd certainly keep the game of football. Below the age of 14, it'd be flag football. I think soccer is definitely safer for our youth. I think it's a first step. Ideally, I'd love to see it go all the way up to 14.
We cannot forget that this disease is being diagnosed in people who never played in the NFL, for whom there are no benefits.
Tackle football is like smoking. The younger I start, the longer I'm exposed to danger.
Are the benefits of youth tackle football worth the risk?
Is it fair to give a child a brain disease that they can't possibly understand?
I never hesitated to be public with Tom's findings because I was so fully blown away to know that Tom could have had the kind of injury he had to his brain and that it could have been caused by football. And I said, my God, of course, this is information that I would have liked to have had.
Hopefully this will lead to something that will prevent this kind of stuff from happening in the future. And that's the hope I see coming from this.
He would always say, I don't know what's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. He's like, I can't control myself anymore.
He was very explosive. His temper was outrageous.
The loss of a child's life is too much to lose over football. It's a sport.
He didn't know he had it, and I think had he known, he wouldn't have felt so ashamed or alone.
Just remarkable. You know, none of that would have been possible without your support. And while CLF has made tremendous strides, we all know there's still so much work to be done. So tonight, we're going to show you our vision for the next 15 years of progress, what we believe we can accomplish if you join us in our fight. First, I'd like to welcome CLF co-founder and medical director, Dr. Robert Cantu, to show us how the CLF HelpLine is making a difference for concussions, patients, and families. Come on up, Bob.
Thank you, Jill. Before I start, I think we all need to give a hand for Chris and his team that put this together tonight. Hold it, just a second, just a second. And his team, because this is the biggest gala ever, and it just grows every year. But I also want to give yourselves a hand for being here tonight. So now, let's applaud. As many of you know, I met my co-founder, Chris Nowinski, after he developed persistent post-concussion symptoms, formerly known as post-concussion syndrome. I had to unfortunately advise him to terminate his career with WWE, which was very hard. His experience was similar to thousands of others I've treated over the last 50 years. Patients who have struggled with the pain, the uncertainty, the isolation. Patients fall behind in school or work, struggle to maintain relationships, and often have their favorite sport, even their identity, taken away. It can truly be very devastating. It makes me sad that some of the families here tonight with us have had a loved one who didn't survive their battle with concussions, often due to substance abuse and suicide. To help people make it through what is often the most challenging time of their lives, In 2019, we launched a helpline. Those of you in Boston could always count on Chris, helping coordinate the care of your loved one. And I've seen many of you in our clinic. But if we wanted to scale that support nationally and now internationally to get people through the difficult moments and on to recovery, the CLF HelpLine provides personalized local and national treatment, recommendations, education, resources, and support. Our mentorship program connects patients and caregivers to peer supporters who can tell them from a personal experience that there is light at the end of the tunnel. To date, we're very proud to say that we've helped nearly 4,300 individuals and made 225 mentorship connections. Thank you to the mentors who are here tonight. We're very proud of the work the CLF HelpLine team has done, but know we're only scratching the surface of our potential to serve those who are suffering. In the next 15 years, we need to grow our helpline team to serve more patients and families, expand our continuing education programs for healthcare providers, bolster our services to include support groups and more interactive community so people can recover together. And the most important message we want our patients to hear is one of hope. No matter what symptoms they have today, they can get better. We need to be able to reach everyone who needs help. Your presence here tonight gives me hope that CLF will do just that. Thank you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Cantu. Another program that he helped create is the CLF Media Project. And while it's great we can help people after they've been hurt, it's better to prevent the damage in the first place. As broadcasters, we've seen players downplay their obvious symptoms to convince their coaches and trainers to get back in the game for their team. The devastating effects of the invisible injury that's happening inside them that they're suffering from is often the last thing on anyone's minds. And that's where we come in. CLF started the Media Project in 2018 with J.A. Adonde, Bob Costas, Andrea Kremer, and Olivia Stomsky, and we have a message to share from Bob tonight.
Hi, it's Bob Costas. Very happy to congratulate Chris Nowinski and everyone at the Concussion Legacy Foundation on this, the occasion of their 15th annual gala. 15 years of doing important, groundbreaking, in a certain sense, courageous work, educating the public, including those who love football and want to see it thrive, if that's the way they lean, educating everyone involved about an important issue. That most certainly includes me, and I hope that I've done at least a small part in pushing the story forward, even if some people didn't want to hear it. You can never go wrong, Chris, being on the right side of history, and that's where you stand. Congratulations on the work you have done and continue to do.
Yes, we appreciate Bob. And we're also lucky to have Hall of Fame sportscaster Andrea Kremer in the room with us to share more about the program. And Andrea, as we both experienced and felt the responsibility to cover brain injuries more accurately in the media for our audiences, welcome, Andrea.
First of all, I'm not statuesque like our wonderful host. So like we did at the Olympics, when we bring out the apple cart called the Tower of Andrea, or the Great Wall of Andrea, here we go. Stand by, as we like to say. There we go. Right. There we go.
All set.
Can I just say how courageous you are? It's the first time you've talked publicly about this. I'm glad you're on prompter, so you couldn't get emotional. But really, ladies and gentlemen, she's not just, oh, you're going to start crying already. She's not just here as the host, she's here as a survivor. And can we just please show our support here? Okay. It is truly an honor to be here. It's great to see so many people that I haven't seen since the last time we were all in person. But look, few public health issues have evolved as rapidly as concussions over the last decade. When I started covering the NFL in another century, concussions were not even part of the national conversation. But thanks to the people in this room, broadcasters are now being forced to talk about concussion protocols as frequently as we talk about pass interference rules. There's a rule book for penalties, but not for talking about concussions. And, you know, remember those days when you would see some broadcasters laugh about players going to the wrong huddle or using language like the notorious "he got his bell rung"? Some would glorify them for their toughness in returning to the game after being knocked unconscious. It made broadcasters look insensitive, ill-informed, and it set a terrible example for children. So CLF recognized an opportunity. Words matter, especially if they're educated words. What if we can make broadcasters and reporters, writers, smarter when they talk about concussions, and at the same time, educate families at home about how they should recognize and respond to concussions? Look, watching games on TV is where most kids learn what a concussion is and how to respond to them. And trust me, they are listening.
Do you know what a concussion is?
Sort of.
Banging your head on something.
I don't know.
And your brain kind of moves a little bit, and then I think you pass out.
Or they were bleeding.
A cast, not really a cast around their head, but sometimes they can have like those things that like wrap around your head.
Put ice on it.
They probably hold up numbers and you probably test it.
Yeah, so you need to be very, very tough to play through concussions.
Why are they tough?
Because they had a concussion and they get back up and play.
And you had a coach that wanted you to keep playing. What would you do?
Keep playing and try my best.
Oh, and he got knocked out. Oh my gosh.
They said, "Oh no, somebody's hurt. The ambulance is coming out."
Oh, that's a big hit. I hope that number 42 is okay because they're gonna need it.
Let's see that in slow-mo replay.
I think they kind of knew about concussions, but I don't think they really said it was a concussion, and they didn't say what concussions could lead to. They just kind of said, "Oh no, somebody's hurt. They got hit in the head way too hard."
Since we launched the Media Project, the Concussion Reporting Workshop has been taught at 27 of the country's top journalism schools, including at my own classroom at Boston University. But in addition to that, this is something that we keep in our broadcast booth when I am analyzing games. 5 fast facts for broadcasters. There's guidelines, there's explanations. We have in our booth posted for everyone to see in case we need any information, the 22 do's for covering concussions. There's so much information that is valuable out there for journalists. They must be better informed. And with that foundation in academia, we are now being welcomed by the networks. The Workshop Pro version has been offered in international newsrooms like BT Sport in the UK and the Sports Network in Canada, and to Major League Baseball network broadcasters here in the US. Our goal in the next 15 years is to ensure that every sports journalist and journalism student is equipped with the CLF Media Project curriculum and that there is confident reporting on concussions. It is an ambitious goal, but with your help, I know that we can achieve it. This work matters, and I am so proud to stand alongside CLF as we help educate the next generation of sports journalists and parents and children at home. And now, I gotta go off the script just for a second. Nowinski's getting nervous, we gotta move things along. But it's okay, because I'm at the mic. We saw a lot of what Chris does in the media. But what he does consistently on a week-to-week basis, watching games, getting on Twitter, never, ever forgetting that he speaks truth to power is hugely important. You need to keep doing this. We look for you to keep doing this. I like sending you emails every now and then. Did you happen to see this? But you keep up this work, Chris, because what you're doing consistently is keeping people honest that need to be kept honest. I'm very proud of you. Once again, thank you for letting me participate tonight. And now I'm back to being short. All right.
Such a pro. Thank you so much, Andrea. Well, we know athletes around the world are suffering from concussions every single day, but there's another community battling the invisible injury that deserves our attention as well. To speak about CLF's work in the military, I'd first like to welcome the past president of the Board of Directors and U.S. Army veteran, the Honorable Matthew S. Collier.
Thanks, Jill, and good evening. Tonight, we are joined by more than 20 members of the research team from the Boston University CTE Center. As most of you know, in 2008, we began collaborating to create the Unite Brain Bank. These researchers have shown us how important brain bank research is to understanding and eventually curing diseases. That's why in 2018, CLF launched Project Enlist with one goal: to promote brain donation among veterans, to serve as a catalyst for critical research on traumatic brain injury, CTE, and post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, for veterans and for active military service members. Since that time, we've recruited some of the brightest minds in the military and in the veteran space to serve in our Veteran Advisory Board, and we've fostered important and impactful partnerships with veteran service organizations like the Disabled American Veterans, Team Red, White, and Blue, the American Legion, and the Wounded Warrior Project, among others. Brain bank research is an essential step in developing diagnostic tests and more effective treatments so that we can protect and support the heroes who courageously fight for our nation. Dr. Carol Eggert, retired Brigadier General, now a Senior Vice President of Military and Veteran Affairs for Comcast, had planned to be here to share her personal experience with brain injury from combat, but was not able to make it. In her absence, it's my honor to invite my friend, fellow veteran, and CLF board member, Scott Blackburn, to the stage.
Great, thank you, Matt. My name is Scott Blackburn. I'm a senior partner at McKinsey and proud to serve on the CLF Board of Directors and the Veteran Advisory Board. After college, I was commissioned into the United States Army as a second lieutenant. And when I went and served after 9/11 in Afghanistan, a lot of us didn't come home the same. Some of those injuries you can see, and some that you cannot, including traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs. TBIs has become the signature wound of the War on Terror. Since 2000, more than 420,000 servicemen and women have suffered TBIs, my brothers and sisters. Brain donation is the key to creating effective treatments for those who are suffering, and Project Enlist is how we're creating the culture of brain donation. By inviting veterans to pledge their brain, we'll give scientists what they need to discover solutions, scientists like Dr. McKee. And this year, we've even recruited veterans in Congress to the cause.
We are losing too many of our fellow veterans to suicide.
Many of those veterans suffered a brain injury in service to our country.
We can learn how to heal injured brains and prevent suicide, but we need your help.
By donating your brain to research, you can continue to serve your fellow veterans. Join us
and pledge to donate your brain today.
Take the pledge at projectenlist.org.
Now, as Matt mentioned, my good friend, General Carol Eggert, couldn't be here tonight, but we want to thank Carol and all at Comcast for their belief in this message. They actually underwrote that PSA and have provided $750,000 of in-kind distribution through their outlets so that people can see that PSA. In the next 15 years, we hope all veterans will know about Project Enlist, and it will be commonplace to donate your brain to Dr. Ann McKee and her teams at Boston University and the Boston Department of Veterans Affairs, so that we can get the answers that veterans deserve. Thank you all for your support.
Yes, thank you, Matt and Scott, for protecting our heroes and furthering our cause. Well, I can say from my experience, as I told you before, finding Lisa McHale and her hooking me up with Samantha Pile-Bono, whose father also had CTE, was immeasurable to me. Sam shared stories of her dad's behaviors, so when my dad began the same things, I had a different lens of perspective, and I'm so grateful for the Legacy family community. To honor our families tonight, please welcome CLF Director of Legacy Family Relations, Lisa McHale, and CLF Legacy Family Community Board Member, Sylvia Mackey.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening. It has been such an honor for me to have served as a member of CLF's Board of Directors for the second time. I was so happy to be reelected. As I said, this is such an honor. But it is being a member of the Legacy family community that connects me most deeply and personally. And this is why I feel that it is most meaningful and important in this contribution that we are making here tonight to the accomplishments that we're celebrating this evening. I'm so pleased that so many of my fellow Legacy family members are here with us this evening to celebrate those accomplishments all together. I would like to thank also the sponsors of Angel Tables for enabling so many of our family members to be our guests tonight. I would ask that if you are a family member of a Legacy donor, please stand now so that we can recognize you and thank you for your invaluable contributions to CTE research. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to all of you for being here this evening to spare and spend this special moment with us all. Thank you.
When he died 14 years ago, my husband Tom became just the second former NFL player diagnosed with CTE by Dr. McKee, at a time when very few people had even heard of the disease. I certainly had not. And I recall very well several years ago saying to Dr. McKee that her diagnosis gave me back my Prince Charming. I suspect that all of the family members in the room who have a loved one that suffered from CTE understand what I meant by that. I'm forever grateful to Dr. McHale and her team for what they've given me and my sons. And you're going to kill me, Ann, but I have to ask you if you would please rise, along with the entire BU research team, if we could all just recognize you being here with us. Thank you so much for your amazing groundbreaking work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ann. And now I'd like to request that you all join me in remembering the legacy donors we've lost just in the past year, along with those who have family members here in the room with us today.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again, when I see you again. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again, when I see you again.
These are just a few of the individuals that make possible the research that informs everything we do at CLF. I would like now to ask to come forward the person responsible for my being here, who reached out to me 14 years ago within hours of my husband's death to ask for his brain, and who has given me the privilege over the past 12 years to work with the amazing families of all of our legacy donors, whose numbers today now surpass 1,300. Please welcome CLF CEO and co-founder, Dr. Chris Nowinski.
Thank you, Lisa. Earlier tonight, you saw clips of a PBS Frontline documentary called League of Denial, which focused on how the NFL and all global sports leagues have tried to deny that their sports cause CTE. Last week, CLF and the researchers in this room had perhaps our greatest success. This summer, we published an analysis of the relationship between head impacts and CTE that showed beyond any doubt that the relationship is causal. And in many ways, it's as strong as the link between smoking and lung cancer. We sent that study along with a letter co-signed by the best experts in the field, along with many of those people in the room tonight, to the National Institutes of Health, asking them to state once and for all that CTE is caused by repetitive traumatic brain injuries. They agreed with our conclusions, and last week they declared for the first time that CTE is caused by repeated traumatic brain injuries. This opens the door to incredible opportunities for CTE prevention. It will increase investment from the scientific and life sciences communities in the treatments and cures. But while this change might be our greatest success, it comes at a time of my greatest failure. When you honored our legacy donors, Lisa showed a name that is very important to me and a lot of the people in this room, Chris Eitzman. To tell you who Chris Eitzman was, I'd like to invite our mutual friend Will Burke to the stage.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here. I'm here to talk about Christopher John Eitzman. I first read this name on a piece of Harvard stationery way back in the summer of 1995. Your freshman year roommate will be Christopher John Eitzman. Rural Route 2, Hardy, Nebraska. I can still see these words like seared into my brain like a cattle brand. Eitzman, Hardy, strong like ox. You sound it out and the name just screams superhero. Eitzman, Eitzman, the Iceman. It really was like one of the X-Men. Fully human, yet somehow more evolved. And I knew in some way, just reading this name, Chris Eitzman, I was like, this guy sounds like an athlete. I bet he plays football or something. I just felt it. And I was right. Kid was an all-state athlete in 3 sports in Nebraska. A big old state full of athletes. He turned down a full ride to play for the legendary Tom Osborne at the University of Nebraska. Every Nebraska farm boy's dream to play for the Huskers. He turned it down to go to Harvard. Kid was fast and graceful. A farm boy could dunk a basketball. He was strapping, blonde, clear-eyed, pure-hearted, straight as an arrow, had the proud posture of a soldier. And he quickly became my best friend in the world. Chris Eitzman had this special quality about him. He was regal. He glowed. He was an instant celebrity on campus. And not because he was tall or he played football, because there was this purity about him. He was good and clean and generous and kind and incredibly humble. It was like being friends with Captain America. He was the best among us, and somehow everybody knew it just by looking at him. Whoa, you know the Iceman? Know him, he's my roommate. I was Jimmy Olsen, and he was Clark Kent, my Superman best friend. And for 4 years, we slept just feet away from each other, often snoring. We studied together, the kid was super smart. We ate together, kid was super duper hungry. Holy crap. Oh my God, all protein too. I think I watched the guy eat like 10,000 eggs. And he never complained. He was this humble guy who never complained about anything. In my memory, he's always smiling. Hardworking, grateful, happy, funny, sweet, kind to children and animals and strangers. He went to church on Sunday, gave food and money to all the panhandlers in Harvard Square, volunteered to help the less fortunate. He was a real Boy Scout. No, he was a gigantic man scout. But he was good. And there's nobody at Harvard that I spent more time with than Chris Eitzman. And if you had tapped me on the shoulder back then and let me know that one day one of my friends would pass away tragically at the age of 44 in the way that he did, after struggling the way he struggled, Chris Eitzman would have been the last name on that list, dead last. He wouldn't even been on the list. He would have been holding the list with me, thinking and praying hard on how he could save our poor, unfortunate friend from such a tragic fate. The Harvard football team chooses one captain per year. It's different than most football teams. They have like 4 or 5. Harvard elects one, and it's elected solely by the other players. One hero, one champion. It was no surprise to me or to anyone who knew him that Chris Eitzman was elected the Harvard football captain. And no surprise to me that he worked his way from an undrafted NFL free agent onto the Patriots practice squad, and from there muscled his way onto the starting roster. No surprise to me that out of all the Patriots rookies that year, a young Tom Brady selected Chris Eitzman to be his roommate, and they moved into this 3-bedroom condo in Franklin, Mass. Together. Now, Chris had to take an enormous step down in the roommate department from me to Tom Brady. But it's true. But like I said, the kid was humble and he never complained. Flash forward 15 years later, Chris now has an MBA from another Ivy League, Dartmouth. He's got a gorgeous doting wife, 4 beautiful children, a huge house in Wellesley. He's a hedge fund manager. He's got a big friendly dog, a shiny truck, a lake house in New Hampshire, a big fast boat, several fancy bicycles that he races all the time. The kid was lean and fit and handsome, my most successful friend. He had it all, and he deserved it all. And to find out later that he was able to achieve so much while silently struggling speaks volumes about the guy's strength. That he hid his struggles from me and from so many for a very, very long time is remarkable. And what a scary thing to have your very exceptional brain start to fail you, to work against you, to warp your entire personality, to make you and your behavior unrecognizable, to become bizarro Superman, the antithesis of everything good and pure you once stood for. I miss my friend, and I am deeply, deeply saddened by his passing. It's a profound loss. It's a true waste of greatness to see that the Iceman shattered and melted. We can't keep losing our heroes like this. I just want to thank my other Chris friend, Dr. Chris Nowinski, and everyone in this room for all the work that you do and for helping me to understand why my Superman fell. And with that, I'd like to hand it back to Dr. Chris Nowinski.
Thanks, Will. So Chris was everything that Will said, and actually after living for 4 years with Will, Chris and I shared a room together with Isaiah Kazavinsky. Some of you know we all trained for the NFL draft together. So we got to know each other very well, and he was my captain in his 5th year. And I'm horrified that Dr. McKee diagnosed him with stage 2 CTE a couple months ago. And I'm really embarrassed to say that I had no idea he was suffering. When Chris was at my wedding to my amazing wife, Nicole, in 2013, he was home taking care of our sick kids. Hi, honey. I thought Chris actually looked great. I remember standing there with a bunch of old teammates being asked how I stay so motivated, and I remember saying, I said, well, if it doesn't get me, it's going to get people I care about. But I never thought it'd be Chris. I now know he's already suffering with symptoms at that time, he had a hand tremor, he had depression, he had anxiety. I've now learned in 2015 he self-diagnosed himself with CTE and told his wife he was going to reach out to me and we'd get him to see Dr. Cantu, and he told her he went to see Dr. Cantu, and Dr. Cantu gave him a clean bill of health. He lied to her, and she was too scared of what was going on to find out, to not believe him. So we never got a chance to help him until it was far too late. From 2015 on, it was all downhill. The stories I've heard are mortifying. He developed cognitive problems, problems with his work led to him leaving his job at Putnam. He failed every other job he tried after. His widow has asked that we limit the stories that we share to limit the impact on his 4 young kids. The oldest is only 14. What I can say is I never thought that Chris would become a man whose brain prioritized alcohol over his family, who, due to the alcohol, put his children's lives at risk, couldn't stop drinking and driving, as many DUIs when he was pulled over. He was driving with blood alcohol levels of 0.40, not 0.04, but 0.40. I've seen alcoholism throughout my life. I've never seen anything like this. But when I think about it, I actually have seen this before. I've seen it in the families who've donated the brains of their loved ones who've had similar experiences with substance abuse and CTE. I knew Chris for 25 years. He was a great man, and at the end, he wasn't Chris. You know, these things are always complex and multifactorial, but I firmly believe that the thing that changed about Chris's life was his brain. So I want to thank you, the families and the research team, for letting us remember Chris for who he really was. This experience has changed me. I can hear the clock ticking for me and so many others. And over the next 15 years, CLF is committed to doing what it takes to advance research on diagnosing this disease so we can treat it, cure it. Our global brain bank partners are bringing more scientists to this mission. We've expanded CLF beyond the US and Canada. We're now in the UK and Australia. And I have more hope than ever that one day we will cure CTE. But the reality is a cure could take decades. And a cure isn't the only solution. Now that everyone agrees that CTE is caused by repeated head impacts, we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can get the sports world to believe that CTE prevention is possible. Understanding causation helps us recognize CTE as a choice. But ethically, it's a choice that children cannot possibly understand. For years, we've been advocating for no heading in soccer until 14, flag football only until 14. In September, these efforts became our newest campaign called Stop Hitting Kids in the Head. It's not a campaign you think would need that name, but we're hitting a lot of kids in the head. So we're focusing on the global sports of soccer, football, and rugby. We need to change the rules so there are no preventable head impacts until 14. No heading, no tackling, no blocking, no CTE. But it's one thing for scientists to suggest changing sports. We need respected leaders of the sports to speak out and to create that change. Brandi Chastain was one of the first when she helped us launch Safer Soccer in 2014, and she's got a little video she had and wanted to share.
Hi everyone, I'm Brandi Chastain, former U.S. Women's National Team member, Olympic gold medalist and World Cup champion, and a grandmother of 2 young girls who are just starting on their soccer journey. The last 15 years with CLF are really incredible, but what we have in the next 15 will be immeasurable. I want to make soccer safe for my family and yours. Let's keep doing great work, and thank you so much for being present and showing up and making all the impact we can.
So just this year, another one of those leaders took a courageous step in sharing his experiences publicly to help others start this conversation. Bruce Murray is a member of the National Soccer Hall of Fame for success with the U.S. men's national team. He was also named college soccer's top player during his days at Clemson. He and his wife, Lynn, did an exclusive interview with CBS News sharing their story. Take a look.
Winging over the cross, and a superb volley!
In 1990,
Bruce Murray, the scorer.
Bruce Murray was at the top of his game.
Murray with a header, yes!
Murray was a star at Clemson.
It was time for the Bruce Murray Show again.
Before playing forward for Team USA.
It's the greatest feeling to be able to travel the world and do what we did.
Murray, nice run by Bruce, but
as he moved into professional soccer, Murray continued his reputation for being fearless. His aggressive play sometimes left him seeing stars. Murray stayed tough through multiple concussions and collisions. He retired in 1995 at age 29.
What made you finally hang up your sneakers?
I was suffering from post-concussion, lack of sleep, and I have a hard time with light headaches. My body just felt like beaten up.
Where do you want to go for 4 years, right?
When we visited Murray and his family in Maryland 2 years ago, he was troubled by recent lapses in memory.
So how's your airplane coming there, buddy?
Including one that left him especially shaken.
My wife and my son and I were at the store, and I was in the car, and they came out, and they came to the car, and I said, oh, sorry, ma'am, do you need to get by? And then she kind of like looked at me like, what are you okay? And then I was like, oh, wait a second, it's you.
That you was the woman he had married 8 years earlier, Lynn Murray.
When Bruce looked at you and didn't recognize you, what was that like for you?
It was shocking. It told me a lot. You know, I'm realizing now that we don't have the future that we were hoping for. So.
It's the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Good job, Callie.
Because of Bruce's history of concussions, the Murrays reached out to Boston University's Center for Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy, or CTE. Murray recalls heading the ball up to 20 times a day during practice drills.
But the balls were coming in at full pace, and you're just trying to get a piece of it and get it in the net. And
with your head?
Oh, yeah. And there many times you would stagger back to the line, and your teammate would be like, man, that looked terrible. You okay? You're like, nah, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Back then, nobody was saying, hey, you know, maybe this is a problem.
Nobody said that, yeah.
Since CTE can only be diagnosed after death, the BU researchers scanned Murray's head for clues, and they found one. His brain tissue, seen here in gray, had atrophied or shrunk. Compare that with this normal scan, where the gray brain tissue fills much of the skull.
We meet again.
When we checked with Bruce and Lynn Murray recently, they told us his condition appears to be stable, but he still struggles with memory, focus, and balance.
Good, go with pace, excellent, good work.
He still enjoys coaching youth soccer.
Good, come find me, come on, come find me, there you go.
But believes the sport he loves may need changes to make it safer for everyone.
I think U.S. soccer needs to address this. It's called football all around the world.
Good.
What if you rewrite the rules? Do you have to head the ball?
It takes a lot of courage to share that story. So, ladies and gentlemen, to accept our 2022 Courage Award, please welcome Bruce and Lynn Murray.
Oh my God. We are so happy to be here in Boston tonight. I wish we somehow could airbrush those mullets out of those pictures. But oh my God. So we chose to go public with my symptoms to bring awareness to how repetitive head trauma in soccer can impact families in hopes we can help others. We appreciate the Boston University medical team here tonight who gave us a diagnosis so we know how to work through this as a family. And thank you to CLF for helping us share our story. Right now, we are living in the unknown. We don't know how fast things are going to go and how they progress, and we may not have the future we are hoping for, and we may. This isn't a death sentence. We can do things. I can't take back the thousands of headers I made throughout my career, but I can help prevent future soccer players from taking them. I feel a responsibility as a player at high level to make the game safer for these players. CLF and BU have shown the world that CTE is caused by repeated head impacts, as Chris just talked about. The first thing we need to do is get rid of headers for children. There's no need, absolutely zero. Thank you. There is no need for children to be heading hundreds of balls in the season, or at all. And for me, until they're 18 years old. CLF led the way in 2015, getting a heading ban up to age 11. I'm here to promise you that I will fight alongside you to push that ban further. But it's not going to be easy, and that's why I also want to thank you for being here tonight to support CLF. The Murray family pledges our full support to your new campaign, Stop Hitting Kids in the Head. I am proud to work with CLF and look forward to rallying the soccer community to get behind this effort to protect the next generation of soccer players so they don't have to experience what we have been through. The last thing I'd like to say is,
it's easy for me to come up here, and I appreciate this award, courage. It's not. I've been in the highest levels of the game and talked to people. Courage is people like my wife and Jill and people that are part of this whole deal. And thank you. And the families that are part of what happens in the fallout and the support, that is courage. It's easy for me to get up here. It is really, really courageous for the families to support these people in this condition. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Bruce and Lynn. That was amazing. So I just heard Bruce and Lynn pledge to rally the soccer community behind Stop Hitting Kids in the Head. And I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier. So this is that part of the night where we try to raise that extra money to make sure that we can do that. You guys have been so generous tonight. Thank you to all the sponsors and the supporters. But that bit of extra so we can corral all of those soccer superstars. We can do those PSAs that have been so impactful. We can start engaging the sports governing bodies on this issue. I just started that conversation last week with U.S. Soccer in Amsterdam. It's going to be hard, but we're going to do it. And so I would ask you tonight if you can help us raise an extra $100,000 tonight. We'll be able to do this that much faster. So on your table, you have pledge cards. What I'm going to ask you to do is, if I throw out a number that you like, that you're ready to commit to help us do this, please raise your hand. So I want to start tonight. We always have somebody pop up and go big. I want to know if anybody out there will kick us off with a $25,000 donation to make sure that we can start this. Do I got a 25 in the room to help us with Stop Hitting Kids in the Head? I got John Corcoran, my man, the guy who got me into wrestling. Feel that guilt? I appreciate it. John, anyone? Any others? All right. Who can commit for me $10,000 to make this happen? We'll go 25. Bill Colossus at 25? Was it a 25 or was it 10? 25, sir? Thank you, Bill. Bill, our other presenting sponsor, my man, Harvard football legend. Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, no, give him a round of applause. That's the man. All right. I love that man. All right. Well, anyone want to match Bill's 25? Last chance? All right. All right, so who's in for 10? I know I got lovely people who always give me 10 to make. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. We got 10 right here up front. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. McCafferty, who else is joining us? We're up to 70. Who else? Any other 10s in the room? I can't really see. There's a bright light. Anyone else want to help Stop Hitting Kids in the Head? All right. Well, thank you for that. All right, we are getting there. We're at 70. Who can give me 5? We got some 5s in the room. Thank you, Lynn Bonaconti. Thank you. Thank you, Scott Blackburn. Thank you. Another 5. Thank you. Of course, this tape. This was. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Another 5. Another 5. Thank you, Josh. Oh, we were doing great. Yes. All right, Rick. Love it. Thank you. God. All right. I lost count. Oh, Bob Cantu. Thank you very much, sir. All right. We got any others? I'm going to join that. That's an illustrious team right there. All right. Thank you guys for your generosity. All right. Now at a number that maybe I would be able to contribute to. $1,000. Oh, thank you. All right. We got $1,000. Oh, thank you, Gina. Thank you. All right, we got another one. We got 2. All right. 3. Thank you. Moving this way. 4, 5. Well, thank you, Bruce Murray. Another round of applause for Bruce Murray. All right. I got to work my way across here. Thank you. Paul Grant. Thank you very much, NBA superstar. Thank you. All right, got a lot here. We got 3 in a row right here. Our team will come find you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Okay, this is a lot. I lost track. Thank you, Doc. All right, thank you, Doc. Thank you. I see you. I see you. All right. Wow. All right. This is too many to keep track of. I see you in the back. Thank you very much. I see you in the back. I see you in the back. This is a very generous group. Thank you. All right. Any others that I can see? We got pens on your table. Fill these out to make sure we get these pledges in. Joe Salura, Thank you very much. No man raised more sponsorships tonight. Thank you. The insurance industry is generous, and I love you guys. All right. So one more level. I know you guys have already contributed so much, but if you want to write down, $100. Who wants to raise their hand for $100? Get part of the team. Thank you. Yeah, now we're talking real numbers. All right. I love it. I got 5 at that table. We got more. Thank Doc. Thank you very much, and thank you for the work you're going to do to help us with the psychiatric symptoms of this disease. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I got more. All right. Give a round of applause for all these folks raising their hand. Will Burke, thank you very much. There's too many people to thank. Whatever you want to do, any number is appreciated. I want to thank you. We definitely surpassed $100,000. We blew it away. So I want to thank you guys for putting us over the top. This is by far, you guys have been here now for 15 years, by far our most successful gala. So thank you guys very much. And the other thing you can do, and I always say it's an easy way to contribute, you can always pledge your brain too. Write down that on your pledge card. Say, my brain's coming to Dr. Ann McKee. Dr. Ann McKee. I'm asking everyone to pledge their brain to you too. Thank you. I'm asking everyone to pledge their brain to you too. Is that okay? Can you take them? All right, guys, I want to thank you guys very much for your generosity. Jill is going to wrap us up, and then I'll see you guys at the bar. Thank you guys for an amazing night.
Wow, guys. Thank you so much. I'm blown away by this room. I cannot thank you enough. I know my dad and all of our loved ones are really happy and appreciative that you are furthering their legacy because they can't. So thank you so much. Okay. Remember, the burden is now on all of us to get involved and help continue to spread awareness and fund research. And this has been a wonderful night, so let's take a moment and thank the Fairmont team and the staff for a great service tonight. Let's thank our cast and crew in the back for putting this together on the live stream. Thank you to all 4 photographers and our sounds and graphics. Thank you so much. A reminder, the silent auction is going to close in 10 minutes. It's been moved too, by the way. It's up there on that balcony. There's some really cool trips. I'm happy to go with anyone they want to go. Really good trips, really great art, some really cool stuff. So go look if you didn't earlier. It's still open, 10 more minutes to get your bids in. The program's over, but enjoy your dessert. The bar's open. Thank you again for being here. We can't thank you enough. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, CLF. Let's go get them. Have a great night, and we'll see you next year. Thanks at home.
Thank you.